Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Reminder, if you want to lesson with me, check the link in the description below. And let's move on to something that's probably not ultra relevant at this precise moment, and that's how to test out a trombone before you buy it. It could be used, could be not used, and I don't think there's a lot of this happening right now, but maybe in a few months, maybe in a year, more people are doing this, and I feel like not enough people really know what to do when they go try a new trombone to them. So, in my hypothetical situation, I have found a gold-plated Bach 36 Corporation on Craigslist, and I'm going to go meet a guy and try it out. Meet a person. I'm not going to make them gender-specific. So, of course, this is my friends, and I'm not buying this because it would be a lot of money. But I found a person that has this. I'm going to go check it out. So first things first, I'm going to bring the correct mouthpiece. Don't rely on the seller to have something gross floating around in the case. Bring your own mouthpiece that's appropriate for the instrument. Small things for small things, bigger things for bigger things, and the correct shank size. So I'm going to plug that in, get the horn out. If I cared about the case, I would check that out. Personally, I'm probably going to get a new case down the road unless it comes with something really nice. So check it out. I'm looking for dings in the bell, acid bleed in the bell, things that you can like knock down the price if you really want to. Looking for dents in the tuning slide, dents in the gooseneck. Kind of see if things are lined up correctly. If you look down the horn, some horns have been taken apart and they'll just be like whoop, a little bit wonky. I've had some horns like that. Now, the most important part of a trombone, of course, is the slidey bits, this part. So check out the outside, and you can look down using a light. Thankfully, I have a light right there. And you can see pretty obviously if there are dings by looking across the tube. And you can, of course, turn it so you can look at every angle. Most commonly, there's going to be dents in line with the bell, the third position dent, when the bell falls over on the slide. It happens on a lot of instruments. So look for those. They're not always world-ending. You can always get them fixed or replace tubes, or it doesn't matter at all because it still plays well. But you can knock the price down. Look at the crook. For big old dings, make sure the cork is actually sealing and there, or else the playing portion of this will mean nothing. Then slide the slide off and look for wear on the stockings. And this one actually does have a bit of chrome loss on both stockings. So if I were buying this, I'd be like, I'm gonna have to get new slide tubes at some point. Gotta knock down the price a little bit. If they were immaculate, I don't think I could knock down the price at all on this thing because it is in great shape. So check that out. And then the mechanics of the slide, of course. Where does it fall? Does it feel good? This is probably a good 7 or 8 out of 10. It's not my favorite slide of all time, but it is perfectly usable. And so I would be happy with it. And of course, when trying to use trombone especially, sometimes they're really gummy and crappy, and that's just because they haven't been cleaned. So don't always judge a trombone by its slide, I guess, a book by its cover. I'm not sure how to put that. Now, ergonomics. Hold the trombone in your hand before you play it. Just feel how it feels, right? On a Con 6H, for instance, these ferrules right here, little brace sockets, are really sharp and honestly not comfortable. They always cut up my middle finger. I've had 2 of them. They both did that. And so if I were trying that trombone and maybe another one that was similar, I'd probably discount the 6H just because of that. Or I'd be like, well, I have to get leather grips just to play this because it's really uncomfortable. For this one, the horn's a little front heavy for my tastes. It does not bounce backwards like I would like. So it's a knockoff in my book. But just check it out. Make sure there's no weird like slides too narrow or too wide or valves in your neck, that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in a second as well. So now, horn's okay. Play some easy notes. So first off, I'm like, wow, nice warm sound. It's easy to play. The glisses really maintain the sound as I move through the slide. Feels good. Hopefully you're showing up to this meet semi-warmed up at least. First notes, I'm impressed. Now play some slurs, right? try slurring between partials. Does it feel easy or hard? Who knows? Honestly, all that feels nice and easy. So, one important thing about trying a new trombone to you is not putting your preconceptions on it, right? I find a lot of people that have only played one instrument, usually like a student model instrument or one instrument through high school. When they play something new, it feels so different that they just don't like it. So don't dismiss things outright for feeling different. A new trombone of any kind, even if it's the same model, same year, is going to feel different than the one you play. So it's okay to want something familiar, but don't make it try and feel exactly the same, or else you're never going to change instruments. And in some cases, that's okay. But for the purposes of this, let yourself adapt to the instrument and don't try and make it do things that you are only wanting, right? So now we've done some slurs. Feels okay. Articulate a little bit. Does the articulation, when you change it, does it change with you, or does the horn kind of go, nah, you're doing what I'm going to do today? In the case of this, it does want to make more of an orchestral articulation with a little more bloom to the front of the note. I like that, but if I'm looking for a commercial 36 that I'm going to play in a big band or something, I wouldn't like that, because I wouldn't be able to impose myself on the instrument. It's going to do what it's going to do. And right now, this is feeling very orchestral. So if I'm looking for a principal 36 for orchestra, perfect. Otherwise, maybe I would pass on this, because it's $2,000, and I'm like, you know, if I'm going to spend $2,000 on a straight 36, I'm going to get the perfect one for me. So do that a little bit. If it changes with you, then great. I don't know if that's what you want. But make sure you know what you're getting into, right? Extreme ranges. Do they change in character and sound a lot and response? Playing some false tones to see how they respond. It feels really good. The pedals feel really good and wide. Honestly, happy with that. So how's the high range? So I like the sound in the high range. It's got kind of a nice singing quality to it. It's not particularly easy though. So if I'm looking for that principal orchestral 36, there's probably better ones for the high range. If I'm looking for some kind of medium bore instrument with no valve, that's okay for some legit things. I think this is firing on all cylinders. So extreme ranges, extreme dynamics. So now we've gone up and down. Let's go up and down. How does it change in character and response when you play soft or when you play loud? Does the articulation disappear when you play soft, or does it feel nice and responsive? And does the horn just sound kind of nasty and brash when you play loud, or does it get wider? Any of those things can be fine, but you need to know what you're going for, right? Some horns you're going to want to get kind of nasty when you play loud, because that's the sound you're going for. For this, I want an orchestral 36, so I want it to get a little wide when I play loud. It feels pretty good. It doesn't feel as good as my 36K. So right now I'm kind of like, it's all right. Is it in tune? So play all the partials from second partial, low B flat, to eighth partial. There we go, 8 fingers. The high B flat, and see if anything is weirdly out. And of course, the seventh partial doesn't really matter because you can put your slide anywhere, but you can just find out where it is. On first blush, nothing weird, right? What I'm looking for in this regard is, like, for instance, sharp low B flat, if that's really high. Or if the F above that, third partial, is really flat. If you have a flat third partial, usually means your horn's probably not very good. And something like a flat high B flat, and this one does not. A flat high B flat isn't the end of the world, but can be really annoying if you just want to play a high B flat in first position without having to push this in all the way. So check out the intonation. Also do that like in fifth position or sixth position to see if it goes completely out of the window as you move the slide. I'm not going to do that at this moment. And last thing, maybe an instrument checks everything off this list above, right? I think there's plenty of instruments that would check all those things. But does it bring you joy? Do you actually want to have this instrument, right? I think there's a lot of instruments that would check all those things and not bring me joy. I can think of a lot of like Yamahas or Getsons or, I don't know, more just kind of like instruments that do everything well, but I'm not going to really want to have it. And there's no point in spending potentially thousands of dollars on an instrument that you just don't really want. So make sure that you actually do want this instrument. Don't just get caught up in, ooh, shiny new. Make sure you actually want it, and potentially, you know, this is up to you if you need the instrument. I'm not one to talk about needing instruments with that in the background, but it is good to have a use for anything you're going to buy. So there you go, a guide on buying instruments. Make sure it brings you joy, and I'll see you guys next time.